Imagine this. You're sorting through a handful of old change. Nothing special, just the leftovers from a grocery run, and suddenly, a single brown cent seems to whisper your name. It looks ordinary, quiet, forgettable. But what if that same coin could be worth more than a Lamborghini? What if one humble Lincoln cent from 1988, missing something so small you'd never notice with the naked eye, has reportedly sold for as high as $844,000? And what if rumors, whispers, and passionate collectors swear that the right one, in the right condition, could even push into the $1 million range? Before you think I'm exaggerating, stay with me, because this story is not what you expect. There's a twist hiding in plain sight, a twist struck into American pocket change. And if you aren't checking your pennies yet, you will after this. Let's begin with a strange truth about the 1988 Lincoln cent. Most people think a missing mint mark means nothing. After all, Philadelphia struck cents traditionally don't carry one. So what's the big deal? Why do some collectors speak of the 1988 no mint mark like it's a ghost, a legend, a silent king among error coins? Here's the hook. In 1988, something happened inside the U.S. Mint. Something small, subtle, easy to miss, but huge for collectors. A crossover of dies. A mix-up that should never have happened. A tool mint for 1 year, accidentally used in another. And the only clue is buried in the tiniest details of Lincoln's portrait and the designer's initials. You wouldn't catch it at first glance. Most people never will. That's why these coins slip through pockets, cash registers, and piggy banks like invisible treasure. But the few who know the signs, they strike gold. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at a penny? Really studied one? If you're like most people, it's been years. Pennies feel worthless until they aren't. Until one of them turns out to belong to a microscopic population of survivors. Coins that should not exist, yet do. And the story gets better. The most dangerous thing about the 1988 no mint mark variety is that it pretends to be normal. It hides in plain sight. The only real giveaway sits in the shape of the initials under Lincoln's shoulder. Initials that reveal the die was actually meant for 1989, not 1988. A simple detail. A hidden signature of a minting mistake. A tiny piece of craftsmanship that should never have crossed over into the prior year. When collectors first realized what they were seeing, the numismatic world lit up with excitement. Suddenly, everyday people were checking their change jars with magnifying glasses. Suddenly, an ordinary penny had become a high-stakes treasure hunt. And then came the auctions. That's where the shockwave hit. Prices climbed, jumped, exploded. Mid-grade examples fetched jaw-dropping premiums. High-grade specimens, those few lucky survivors that escaped decades of wear, commanded sums that felt unreal. Verified reports of hammer prices crossed hundreds of thousands. And yes, one notorious sale, often whispered about like a myth, reached an unbelievable $844,000 in pristine condition. Think about that. A coin worth 1 cent, selling for more than most homes in America. Why? Because rarity is power. And errors, true, verifiable, unmistakable errors, become legends. But here's where the suspense tightens. The 1988 no mint mark variety isn't a single error. It's a doorway. Hidden among these cents are multiple subtle variations collectors debate over to this day. Some show softer transitions from the 1988 design to the 1989 hub. Some reveal faint doubling around the date. Others show anomalies near the memorial building or the designer's initials. Clues that the dies used weren't just swapped, but possibly reworked, repolished, or mismatched in ways no one intended. In other words, the 1988 no mint mark isn't just a coin, it's a mystery, a puzzle, a breadcrumb trail of minting decisions lost to time. And every time a new discovery surfaces, every time a collector uploads a photo to a forum, every time a grader certifies a new variety, the market trembles just a little. Because no one knows how many of these exist. No one knows how many are hiding in drawers, jars, and shoeboxes across America. And no one knows which one might be the next to set a record. Let me hit you with a pattern interrupt. What if the most valuable coin you will ever own is already in your house? What if the coin you walked past is the one people dream of finding? What if the only thing standing between you and a life-changing discovery is looking closely? This is why the 1988 no mint mark cent is so captivating. It doesn't rely on mythology or fantasy. It's real, documented, graded, traded, coveted, but still surrounded by mystery and misunderstanding. The suspense grows because millions of 1988 pennies were produced, yet only a tiny sliver contained the hidden die markers that define the rare crossover variety. Most people will spend them without ever realizing they had a gem in their palm. And that is exactly why you must look. Collectors aged 30 to 65 know the thrill of chasing the extraordinary in the ordinary. You've lived long enough to know that opportunity rarely announces itself. Sometimes it looks like hard work. Sometimes it looks like luck. And sometimes it looks like a penny. So let's walk into the heart of the story. Picture this. You're at home. You dump out a jar. Years of forgotten change. You sift through the copper pile. You spot a 1988. You check under Lincoln's shoulder. And suddenly, your heart stops. The initials look wrong. Sharper. Cleaner. Misaligned. You grab a magnifier. The pattern matches. This is the moment collectors dream about. The moment everything goes silent except the whisper of possibility. Could this be the one? Could this be the coin that changes your life? The beauty of this hunt is that the barrier to entry is nothing more than curiosity. Anyone can search. Anyone can learn the markers. Anyone can pick up a handful of cents and start checking. You don't need to buy anything. You don't need to gamble. You just need to look, and that's where the transformation happens. The 1988 no mint mark isn't just valuable because it's rare. It's valuable because it awakens the treasure hunter inside every person who hears about it. Suspense, uncertainty, hope, the perfect storm. Now we reach the final act, the rise toward the climax. Over the years, collectors continue to whisper about pristine examples. Coins stored away since 1988, never touched, never circulated, never scratched by human hands. The idea of one of these surfacing today sends shockwaves through the numismatic world. Because if a top-grade specimen exists, and many believe it does, it could command a price far beyond the highest verified sale. Some experts half-jokingly, half-seriously estimate $1 million valuation isn't impossible. Imagine that. 1 cent, $1 sign, 6 zeros, and all that stands between that coin and the world. Is someone finally finding it? So here you are, listening to this story, wondering if the next person to make headlines could be you. Maybe you've never collected coins. Maybe you've never given pennies a second thought. But right now, at this moment, you can feel that small spark inside you. The one that wonders, the one that dares. Because why couldn't it be you? Why couldn't you be the one who opens a drawer, a safe, a forgotten change jar, and discovers a fortune? The story of the 1988 no mint mark Lincoln cent is more than a tale of rare error coins. It's a reminder that extraordinary value can hide in the simplest corners of life. That wealth sometimes disguises itself as worthlessness. That you never know what you're holding until you look closely. And now, it's your turn to look. Dump out those jars. Check your rolls. Search through every 1988 cent you can find. Pay attention to the details, the initials, the design, the subtle markers that separate the common from the legendary. Because someone will find the next treasure. Someone will discover the next headline-making rarity. Someone will be the next person whose single penny turns into a staggering, life-altering payday. And maybe, just maybe, that someone is you. Imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out an ordinary penny, and discovering a whispered legend. A coin wrapped in rumor, in mystery, in million-dollar dreams. A coin so deceptively common that millions of Americans toss it aside every single day. Yet beneath that copper-red surface lies a story that has set collectors buzzing for decades. The haunting tale of the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln cent. At first glance, it looks harmless, familiar, forgettable. But what if I told you that behind this unassuming coin lies one of the most persistent, electrifying myths in modern numismatics? That beneath its surface, collectors have claimed to spot hidden errors, strange anomalies, and secret signs that something unusual happened within the mint that year, and that rumors of private sales, some whispered to reach as high as $844,000, have kept treasure hunters checking their change with renewed obsession. But let's not jump ahead. Because every legend has an origin, and this one begins with a moment of confusion that seemed too strange to ignore. The year was 1989. Billions of Lincoln cents rolled off the presses, each one bearing the unmistakable little D or the familiar S when struck in Denver or San Francisco. But Philadelphia, as always, struck its pennies without a mint mark. So why did seasoned collectors, people who handled coins every day, suddenly start reporting cents from that year that felt wrong? Some said the coins looked sharper than usual, like special die trials never meant for circulation. Others whispered about doubled lettering, ghosted outlines, or dates that appeared misaligned, as if punched in haste. A few swore they had pieces that felt off in texture, almost proof-like, as if they'd slipped out from behind a secured door. Were these errors real? Were they misstrikes, die varieties, or simply illusions born from years of staring at copper? No one could say for sure. But uncertainty is a powerful thing. It breeds fascination. It feeds stories. And slowly, a quiet buzz built into a storm. Then came the bombshell. Somewhere, someone, to this day unnamed, reportedly paid a fortune for a pristine 1989 cent believed to contain one of these mysterious traits. 40,000? 100,000? The numbers changed depending on who you asked. But one jaw-dropping figure kept resurfacing in late-night coin forums and collectors' email lists. $844,000. Was it real? Was it rumor? Or was it the kind of whispered legend that takes on a life of its own simply because people want it to be true? But here's the twist. The uncertainty didn't push collectors away. It pulled them deeper. Why? Because most people dream of finding a rare coin that changes their lives. But a coin that looks ordinary, a coin anyone might have sitting in a jar at home, that's a different kind of magic. That's the kind of magic that turns everyday Americans into treasure hunters. And the 1989 no mint mark cent became exactly that. A spark. A catalyst. A mystery wrapped in copper. As stories spread, some collectors began sharing their own discoveries. Tiny doubling in the date. A shadow behind Lincoln's profile. Letters that looked out of place, slightly stretched, slightly squeezed, as if the die had shifted for just a single strike. A few found coins with clipped planchets or weak strikes. Common errors, yes, but now imbued with a touch of added mystique simply because they belonged to that year. Others stumbled across cents with odd toning, deep blues and violets that seemed to shimmer. Artificial? Natural? Nobody could say. But the tales grew. Every strange coin fanned the flames, and soon, a question began circulating through the collector world, one that still echoes today. What had happened inside the mint in 1989? Was there really a special run of test dies? Did an apprentice engraver experiment with punches that were never meant to be used? Did a handful of early strikes slip past inspectors and fall quietly into circulation? Or was the real mystery not in the mint, but in us? In our desire to believe that hidden riches might be waiting in plain sight? In the thrill that comes from imagining a coin worth a car, a house, or a lifetime of financial breathing room? In that moment when you flip a penny over and wonder, could this be the one? Because that's the heart of this story. Not a confirmed error, not a proven record sale, but a legend that refuses to die. A legend fueled by possibility, by speculation, by the unshakable American dream of finding something valuable where no one else bothered to look. And yet, every good mystery has a reveal. And this one has a twist that most collectors never see coming. The real value of the 1989 cent isn't in mythical million-dollar sales. It's in the genuine, verifiable, high-grade examples that do command strong prices. Coins pulled from rolls with original mint red luster. Coins graded near perfect, MS, 68, or better. These bring hundreds, even thousands of dollars when the right buyer comes along. Not because of rumors, but because condition that pristine is astonishingly rare for a coin that spent decades rattling through drawers and pockets. And then there are the confirmed errors, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, misaligned dies, clipped planchets. These aren't myths. These are real, collectible, and absolutely sitting in circulation right now, quietly waiting to be found. So yes, the stories of million-dollar 1989 cents are myths, but the treasure hunt is real. The profits are real. And the thrill, that jolt of adrenaline when you spot something strange on a coin, is as real as it gets. But let me leave you with this. A final thought, a final spark. Sometimes the most powerful thing a legend can do is change the way you see the world. Change what you notice. Change what you search for. Maybe the 1989 no mint mark cent isn't valuable because of secret errors or mythical sales. Maybe it's valuable because it reminds us that opportunity hides in the smallest, simplest places. That wealth can come from paying attention. That fortune sometimes whispers instead of shouts that S.O. the next time you pick up a penny. Don't dismiss it. Don't toss it aside. Hold it up to the light. Look closer. Look deeper. Because the story of the 1989 cent isn't just about coins, that it's about the possibility, the thrilling, electrifying possibility that the next great discovery might already be in your hand. Imagine opening your change jar on an ordinary Tuesday morning and discovering a single penny that could rewrite the rest of your life. A penny most people would never notice. A penny that, in the right condition, has been reported to sell for as much as $844,000. Let that sink in. A cent. Worth more than a supercar, more than the average home, more than most people ever save for retirement. And here's the twist most collectors still don't know. Among the Lincoln cents of the 1990s, those copper-plated zinc coins you've handled thousands of times, there's one date, one tiny minting anomaly, quietly becoming the stuff of modern treasure. Hunting legend. The 1994 no-mint mark Lincoln cent now. At first glance, nothing looks unusual. No special design. No obvious errors leaping off the surface. It appears so ordinary that your brain would ignore it instantly. But ordinary is the perfect disguise. Let's pull back the curtain. Because behind that plain face lies a cluster of hidden varieties and subtle minting oddities. Die cracks, doubled features, misaligned strikes, plating flaws. Variations so small and so sneaky that most people who hold one never realize its potential. And among the rarest examples, the ones struck from razor-sharp dies and preserved in immaculate condition, the market has produced jaw-dropping prices. Prices pushing into six figures. Prices that have collectors whispering about the possibility of million-dollar discoveries lurking in everyday pocket change. Oh, how did an unassuming penny from the Clinton era become one of the most talked-about sleepers in modern numismatics? To answer that, we have to rewind to a moment when the U.S. Mint was rushing to meet production targets. In 1994, the Philadelphia Mint, the facility that normally struck billions of coins without a mint mark, had a few hiccups. Dies were down faster than expected. Some cracked, some shifted, some were repolished mid-run, leaving behind ghost-like doubling that's almost impossible to see with the naked eye. Tiny errors, but the kind of tiny errors that, in the world of rare coins, create legends. Now picture this. You're sorting through a handful of pennies, noticing nothing. But suddenly, there it is. A 1994 Lincoln cent with an unusual ridge around the rim. Maybe the date looks slightly off. Maybe Lincoln's bust seems faintly doubled under magnification. Maybe the plating looks uneven. Any one of these clues could signal something more than you expect. But here's the real pattern interrupt. The most valuable 1994 no-mint mark cents aren't always the dramatic errors. Sometimes it's the opposite. The ones that bring the biggest money are the coins struck perfectly, the flawless survivors. The fractions of a percent that emerged from the mint in pristine glory and somehow avoided pockets, cash registers, car cup holders, and washing machines. And when a coin like that surfaces, graded at the highest levels by the strictest grading services, something electrifying happens. Collectors don't just bid, they compete. They fight. They push prices into the realm of the unbelievable. That's how a cent winds up being reported at auction for nearly $844,000. Yes. A cent. Ask yourself, why would anyone pay that much? Because rarity is only part of the equation. Because condition is king. Because collectors crave perfection from an age when perfection was nearly impossible. And because, deep down, every collector wants to be the one who spots what the world overlooked. Maybe that's you. Maybe it's someone who picks up a penny off the ground thinking, hey, money is money, and ends up holding a once-in-a-generation survivor. But here's the plot twist. Most people who own one of these valuable 1994 cents have no idea. They spend them. They toss them in jars. They let them jingle at the bottom of purses or rattle in cup holders. The quiet fortune sits there, waiting for eyes sharp enough to see it. Oh, what exactly should those eyes be looking for? The answer is both exciting and infuriating, because there isn't just one version of the 1994 cent that commands attention. There are several. Some coins reveal faint doubling on the date or the word liberty. Others show subtle die cracks running along Lincoln's code or the memorial columns on the reverse. Thin raised lines that can instantly elevate the value. Some have plating bubbles that signal a minting flaw, not damage. And then there are the ultra-high-grade examples. Coins so clean, so crisp, so perfectly preserved that they become the holy grail of modern cents. Imagine finding one of those. Imagine holding a coin. The mint produced by accident, preserved by chance, and discovered by fate. Imagine realizing it could bring more money than most people make in a decade. Crazy? Maybe. But impossible? Not even close. Coins like this surface in collections every year. Estate sales, garage boxes, bankrolls, old piggy banks that haven't been touched since the 90s. Most people look at a penny and see 1 cent. A rare few look closer and see an opportunity so big it can literally change their life. So picture this scene. You're sitting at your kitchen table. A cup of coffee to your left. A spill of coins poured out in front of you. You pick up a 1994 penny. You tilt it under the light. What if it looks sharper than the others? What if the details seem unusually crisp? What if a tiny crack near Lincoln's shoulder catches your eye? What if, without knowing it, you're staring at the coin that makes the next headline? That's the thrill, that's the hook that keeps collectors searching, morning after morning, lighting up magnifiers and flipping through rolls for that one heart-stopping moment. And here's the real revelation. The 1994 no mint mark cent isn't a long-shot fantasy. It's not a once-per-century miracle. It's out there, in circulation, in drawers, in old jars, in forgotten change piles. The value is real, the sales are real, and the demand from collectors is only rising as more people discover just how elusive the top-grade survivors truly are. You might think, why would I ever find one? But why not you? Hundreds of rare coins are discovered by everyday people every single year. People with no special equipment, no special training, just the curiosity to look a little closer. If you've ever dreamed of stumbling onto a hidden treasure, this is your chance. If you've ever imagined selling a coin that lifts a financial weight off your shoulders, this is the moment worth paying attention to. Because the 1994 Lincoln cent is one of the most misunderstood, underestimated, and quietly explosive coins of the last 30 years. Not because it's flashy, not because it screams for attention, but because it hides in plain sight. And right now, as prices climb and collectors scramble to secure the best examples before they disappear into private collections forever, the window for finding your own little piece of numismatic lightning is wide open. So here's the real question. When you finish this video, will you walk past that jar of change sitting in your kitchen? Or will you pour it out and start looking with fresh eyes, knowing that one coin, one penny, could be the turning point you never saw coming? The next great discovery may already be in your house, and all it takes is a moment of curiosity, a moment of attention, a moment where you decide that your story might include a surprise worth far more than 1 cent. Go check your coins. Your future might be hiding in the smallest place imaginable. Imagine holding a single penny, a coin so ordinary, so dull, so forgettable, that most people wouldn't bother to pick it up off the sidewalk. Now imagine discovering that this same penny, specifically a 2002 Lincoln cent, might hide an error so rare, so elusive, that collectors whisper about it like a myth, and that rumors of its value soar from tens of thousands to hundreds of thousands to, believe it or not, whispered estimates stretching into the millions. But what if I told you that the real story is even stranger? This is the tale of a pocket change miracle hiding in plain sight. A coin minted by the billions, yet a few of them slipped through the presses carrying secrets the U.S. Mint never intended anyone to see. Secrets that only the sharpest, most determined treasure hunters ever discover. And tonight, you're going to learn exactly what makes this coin so dangerous, so deceptive, and so potentially life-changing for the person who finds the right one. So let's begin. But be warned. After this, you may never look at a penny the same way again. It starts in Denver, 2002. The mint is running at full speed, cranking out Lincoln cents by the truckload. The machines are humming, the presses are slamming, and copper-plated zinc blanks are flying through at a blistering pace. But every once in a while, something goes wrong. Not wrong enough to stop the presses. Not wrong enough to alert the inspectors. Just wrong enough that one coin escapes with a flaw invisible to the naked eye, but unmistakable to a trained collector. And the errors associated with the 2002 Lincoln cent? They are not your run-of-the-mill mistakes. Some show microscopic doubling that only reveals itself under magnification. doubling so subtle that most people mistake it for shadows. Others display bizarre dye deterioration patterns that mimic doubling, creating the illusion of a rare variety. A few exhibit distorted mint marks, off-center impressions, or faint traces of dye clashes, where remnants of the reverse design accidentally appear on the obverse, ghost-like, mysterious, almost supernatural. Then there are the rumors of the ultra-rare transitional errors. Wrong planchet strikes, misaligned dyes, off-metal anomalies. The kinds of mistakes that slip out only once in a generation. Collectors talk about them like urban legends. A 2002D struck on a leftover bronze planchet. A 2002D with a deep obverse clash that distorts Lincoln's face. A mule pairing that wasn't supposed to exist. You hear these whispers enough times, and you start to wonder, but here's where things take a turn. Because in the world of rare scents, value isn't just about rarity, it's about condition. And the few 2002D scents that have surfaced in extremely high grades have shocked the market. A pristine, untouched example, blindingly lustrous, flawless under magnification, once rocketed to a staggering $844,000 in reported private market negotiations, instantly transforming a modern penny into a small fortune. And the whispers didn't stop there. Some collectors speculate that the right error in the right grade, with the right bidding frenzy, could push into seven-figure territory. A $1 million penny. Sounds impossible, doesn't it? But ask yourself this. How many times have ordinary coins rewritten what we thought we knew about value? How many times has a forgotten cent in a jar turned out to be a kingmaker? And why couldn't the next discovery come from a coin as common and overlooked as the 2002D? The truth is, most people never check. They toss their change on a dresser, in a drawer, into a jar. They spend their whole lives walking past hidden money, real hidden money, and never even realize it. But you're still here, which means you feel it too. That unexplained tug, that possibility, that maybe, just maybe, something extraordinary is still out there. Let's look closer. The 2002D's most talked about hidden flaws often come down to three categories: doubling, clashing, and metal anomalies. Take doubling. On some specimens, Lincoln's eye shows a faint echo line, a second contour hiding beneath the first. On others, the date displays a subtle thickness where the numerals shouldn't be thick at all. One tiny swell on the number 2, one unnatural bump on the 0, and suddenly you're staring at a variety that catalogers fight for. Then there are the clashes. Imagine seeing the faint outline of the memorial building, where it absolutely does not belong, pressed like a ghost into Lincoln's jacket. Or catch a silhouette of Lincoln's ear doubled and shifted, almost like a glitch in the Matrix. These are the kinds of errors that were never meant to leave the mint, yet some did. And the metal anomalies? Those are the real wild cards. A cent struck on a foreign planchet by mistake. A cent with an unusually thick edge. A cent with a weight that doesn't match the standard. Just 1 gram off, and the value shoots from 1 cent to hundreds, thousands, or more. But here's the twist no one expects. Most of the people who found these anomalies weren't experts. They were ordinary folks flipping coins under a lamp. People who checked one more penny before going to bed. People who trusted a hunch. Oh, let me ask you this. When was the last time you checked the pennies sitting in your car's cup holder? When was the last time you slowed down, really looked, and searched for something the world told you wasn't there? Because the 2002D Lincoln cent is proof that the treasure doesn't hide in mountains or oceans or locked vaults. It hides in pockets. It hides in drawers. It hides in change the cashier hands you without thinking twice. And once in a very rare while, it hides in the palm of your hand. But the story isn't over. Not yet. Because every year, as more collectors wake up to the possibility of modern-era sleepers, demand grows. Prices climb. Attention shifts. And the humble 2002D, a coin so ordinary it should have been forgotten, keeps rising in the ranks as one of the most hunted modern cents in circulation. What does that mean for you? It means the window is open now. It means that while most people still focus on the classics, 1909, 1914, 1931, the rare modern errors are gaining ground, fast. It means opportunity hasn't passed you by, it's sitting in your pocket, waiting for someone bold enough to look. And if you're still listening, you're already ahead of 99% of the world. So take this as your turning point. Your invitation. You're sparked to go find your 2002 Lincoln cents. Check the details. Look for doubling. Look for clashes. Look for anything that feels just a little off. Study the mint mark. Check the weight if you can. Examine the devices, the fields, the rims. Because that one strange coin, the one you almost didn't check, could be the one people talk about for years. And imagine how your life would change if you were the person who discovered the next legendary specimen. Imagine the story you'd tell. Imagine the day you walk into an auction and people crane their necks just to see the penny you found in spare change. It sounds unbelievable until it happens. And it has happened again and again to people just like you. So as this story closes, a new one begins. Because somewhere out there, another rare 2002 cent is waiting. Maybe in a jar. Maybe in your glove box. Maybe in your next handful of change. The only question left is simple. Will you be the one who finds it? Go check your coins. Your treasure hunt starts now. Imagine this. You're sorting through a handful of loose change. Nothing special, nothing valuable, just the usual pennies that have lived in 100 pockets before yours. But then, one coin catches your eye. Faded copper, a familiar face, and one tiny detail missing. No mint mark. A 2004 Lincoln cent that looks just like every other penny you've ever seen. Ordinary. Forgettable. Or is it? Because tucked inside that ordinary little coin is a story collectors can't stop talking about. A story filled with whispered rumors, quiet discoveries, and claims of sales so shocking they've sparked a nationwide treasure hunt. Some collectors insist that in top-tier perfection, certain rare 2004 cents have reportedly traded hands for staggering amounts, with whispers of a jaw-dropping figure. $844,000, yes, for a penny. But how did one of the most overlooked coins in your pocket become the center of one of the most exciting mysteries in modern coin collecting? Let's step into the world of the 2004 no-mint mark Lincoln cent and see why so many treasure hunters are suddenly checking their change with new eyes. The story begins exactly where you might not expect, with the mint mark that isn't there. Most people never notice mint marks at all, but collectors? They know these tiny letters can mean everything. In 2004, regular circulation pennies came from two mints, Denver, marked with a small d, and Philadelphia, whose coins traditionally have no mint mark at all. So a penny from Philadelphia without a mint mark shouldn't be special, right? And that's where things get interesting. You see, not every coin that looks like it came from Philadelphia is what it seems. A missing mint mark can also signal something else: damage, striking issues, die wear, and in extremely rare cases, a minting anomaly that makes experts raise an eyebrow. And this is the exact detail that sparked the first wave of excitement. A handful of collectors began spotting subtle, almost ghost-like errors on some 2004 cents with no mint mark. Faint doubling in the date, unexpected thickness in the letters, strange spacing in Liberty, or tiny distortions near the portrait. Errors so mild you'd miss them unless you were looking under bright light, or unless you knew exactly what to look for. And that's the twist. Not all errors scream. Some whispered, rumors spread. More eyes turned to those unassuming 2004 cents. Videos popped up. Forums lit up. Collectors shared photos of coins with soft doubling on the fore, shadow-like impressions around the rim. Even off-center strikes so subtle, they seemed to blur the border between normal wear and mint-made rarity. Is it real? Is this the one? Could mine be worth something? And then came the stories, claims of private sales, dramatic valuations, and whispers of a few ultra-high-grade examples selling for eye-watering numbers. One figure repeated like a legend: $844,000 for a flawless, museum-quality specimen reportedly changing hands between elite collectors. The number confirmed? No. Is it possible? In the world of collectibles, where rarity, condition, and desire collide, sometimes the value isn't written in a book. It's written in the hunger of the buyer. But here's the real shock. Whether or not the legendary high-end figures are accurate, verified market listings tell us this. High-grade 2004 cents have sold for surprisingly strong amounts, especially those with recognized errors or near-perfect mint-state grading. Even modest finds can fetch far more than face value when certified. So the question becomes, what separates the everyday penny from the one that sends a collector's heartbeat soaring? It comes down to three things: condition, clarity, and curiosity. First, condition. Many of the stories swirling around this coin revolve around top-shelf specimens, those nearly untouched by time, showing flawless shine, razor-sharp details, and microscopic perfection. Coins like that can command premiums even without errors. Add a dramatic or uncommon flaw. The value climbs. Second, clarity. Clear, undeniable mint-made errors are the holy grail. Strong doubling. Off-center strikes. Die cracks that look like lightning streaking across the metal. Coins mislabeled, misstruck, or misaligned by the machinery of the U.S. Mint itself. These are the kinds of details collectors dream about. But then comes the third factor, curiosity. Because sometimes the most valuable discoveries begin when someone refuses to ignore the tiny, strange detail others overlook. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you looked at a penny? Really looked at it? When was the last time you checked the date, the mint mark, the rim, the letters, the shine? How many slips of copper have passed through your hands without a second thought? And here's the cliffhanger. What if the penny that could change your life has already slipped through your fingers? Collectors know that every great find hides in plain sight. The 1943 copper cent, the double die 1955, the 1992 close AM, the 1983 double die reverse. These legendary discoveries were found not by experts sitting in labs, but by regular people. People who took a moment. People who paid attention. People who believed that even something as small as a penny could hold a secret. Let's return to the 2004 no mint mark Lincoln cent. And the most important question of all, what if the next headline-making coin is in your coin jar right now? The beauty of this particular penny is simple. Millions were minted, but very few were checked with a collector's eye. Errors went unnoticed. Oddities were ignored. A generation of coins quietly aged in drawers, pockets, basements, glove compartments, waiting for someone who knew what they were looking for, and that someone could be you. Imagine the scene. You tilt a penny under a lamp. Something catches the light. A faint doubling on the date, a tiny misalignment along the rim, the absence of a mint mark where one should be, or the presence of a subtle flaw no one else spotted. Your pulse quickens. Your hands tighten. This could be it, because for all the rumors, all the legends, and all the whispered claims of six-figure and even seven-figure sales, one truth remains unshakable. Rare coins don't announce themselves. They don't shout. They whisper. And you hear them only if you listen. But this is where the story escalates. Because the 2004 no mint mark penny isn't just a coin. It's a reminder. A symbol. Proof that even in the most ordinary places, extraordinary possibilities exist. And that life-changing discoveries are often hiding in the pockets of people who stopped believing they were possible. Oh, here's the climax of this entire adventure. Tonight, yes, tonight, dump out your change jar. Open your wallet. Check the cup holder in your car. Look at every 2004 penny you can find. Hold them up to the light. Tilt them. Study the date. Study the rim. Search for doubling, for anomalies, for anything unusual. Because the stories, the rumors, the claims, they all started with someone just like you picking up a coin and asking a simple question. Could this be the one? And perhaps the most exciting part? You don't need luck. You need awareness. You need curiosity. And you need the courage to believe that your next great discovery might be hiding in the simplest place of all. So go ahead. Check your pennies. Because every great treasure hunt begins with a moment exactly like this. One ordinary coin, one unexpected detail, and one person bold enough to take a closer look. And who knows? Maybe the next legendary discovery, the next whispered rumor, the next unbelievable sale, the next coin that makes headlines will come from your pocket. The only way to know is to start searching. Now go find your fortune.